Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about faith, truth, history, and uncovering the deeper realities hidden inside the ancient world of the Bible. Today's topic is fascinating because we're going to explore something most people never think about. What did Jesus Christ actually eat? Not the paintings, not modern assumptions, not traditions added centuries later, but the real foods likely eaten by Jesus during his life on earth. And honestly, his diet may surprise you, because compared to modern eating habits, the lifestyle of Jesus was incredibly simple, natural, and disciplined. So today, we'll uncover the foods Jesus likely ate, what meals looked like in ancient Judea, whether he ate meat, what the Bible really says about food, and what his lifestyle can teach us today. Stay until the end, because one food connected to Jesus still exists today almost exactly as it did 2,000 years ago. Part 1. The world Jesus lived in. To understand the diet of Jesus Christ, we first need to understand his environment. Jesus lived in ancient Judea under Roman rule around 2,000 years ago. This was not a world of fast food, refrigerators, supermarkets, or processed meals. Most people were poor. Food was simple, seasonal, and local. People ate what they could grow, catch, bake, or trade nearby. Meals were modest. In fact, many historians believe the average person during that time ate far less meat and sugar than modern people do today. Their diet was built mostly around bread, fish, olives, figs, dates, lentils, vegetables, and grains. Simple foods, natural foods, unprocessed foods. And this was very likely the foundation of Jesus' daily diet. Part 2. Bread was central to life. One of the most important foods in the ancient world was bread. Bread wasn't just food, it was survival. The Bible mentions bread constantly because it was eaten almost every single day. When Jesus Christ said, "Give us this day our daily bread," people understood exactly what that meant. Bread represented life itself. But this wasn't modern white bread filled with preservatives. Ancient bread was dense, rough, and made from simple grains like barley or wheat. It was often baked fresh and eaten with olive oil, herbs, or crushed olives. Sometimes bread even functioned like a spoon, used to scoop food during meals. And interestingly, barley bread was especially common among poorer people. This reminds us that Jesus lived among ordinary people, not luxury. Part 3. Did Jesus eat fish? Yes, almost certainly. Fish appears many times throughout the Gospels. Several of Jesus' disciples were fishermen. Many events in his ministry happened near the Sea of Galilee. The Bible even records famous moments involving fish. The feeding of the 5,000, miraculous catches of fish, and meals shared with his disciples after resurrection. Fish was one of the main protein sources in that region. Usually small fish were salted or dried for preservation. This was practical because refrigeration did not exist. And unlike today's heavily processed seafood meals, fish back then was simple and fresh. No fast food, no frozen packaging, no artificial ingredients, just natural food from the water. Part 4. Olive oil was extremely important. Another major part of ancient life was olive oil. Olives were everywhere in Judea. Olive oil was used for cooking, dipping bread, medicine, lamps, and religious purposes. In many ways, olive oil was one of the foundations of daily survival. Even today, nutrition experts often praise olive oil as one of the healthiest natural fats. And it's fascinating that this ancient biblical food is still valued thousands of years later. Jesus almost certainly consumed olive oil regularly. In fact, The Mount of Olives itself was named because olive trees covered the area. Part 5. Fruits, Figs, and Dates. The ancient Middle East produced many fruits naturally suited to warm climates. People commonly ate figs, grapes, pomegranates, dates, and raisins. Figs are mentioned repeatedly in the Bible. Dates were valuable because they provided natural sweetness and energy. Remember, refined sugar barely existed for ordinary people then. Most sweetness came directly from fruit or honey. That means Jesus grew up in a world without candy, soda, processed desserts, or modern junk food. Think about that for a moment. The average modern diet is filled with chemicals, excess sugar, and ultra-processed foods. But the biblical world was based mostly on simple ingredients from nature. Part 6. Did Jesus eat meat? This question surprises many people. The answer is probably yes, but not constantly. Meat was expensive. Most ordinary families could not afford it regularly. However, during important religious festivals like Passover, lamb was traditionally eaten. So Jesus likely ate lamb during Passover meals. But daily eating habits were probably much simpler than modern diets centered around meat-heavy meals. For many people then, meat was occasional, not constant. This is very different from today's culture where large portions and excess consumption are normal. Part 7. Wine in the time of Jesus. Yes, wine existed during the time of Jesus Christ. The Bible openly mentions it many times. But ancient wine was very different from many modern alcoholic drinks. It was often diluted with water and consumed in moderation. Clean drinking water was not always easy to find, so diluted wine was common in daily life. One of Jesus' first recorded miracles involved turning water into wine at a wedding feast. But it's important to understand, the Bible repeatedly warns against drunkenness and loss of self-control. Moderation mattered deeply. Part 8. Fasting was part of Jesus' lifestyle. Here's something many people overlook. Jesus didn't just eat simply, he also fasted. The Bible describes periods where Jesus Christ went without food for spiritual purposes. Fasting in biblical times was connected to prayer, discipline, spiritual focus, humility, and dependence on God. Today, many people constantly consume entertainment, food, noise, distractions, and stimulation. But Jesus regularly stepped away from excess and silence to reconnect spiritually. That part of his lifestyle may be even more shocking than his actual diet. Part 9. What his diet teaches us today. Now here's the deeper lesson. The point is not that everyone must eat exactly like Jesus. The point is what his lifestyle represented. Simplicity, discipline, gratitude, balance. Modern culture constantly pushes more consumption, more cravings, more indulgence, and endless excess. But the life of Jesus Christ reflected something calmer and more intentional. Food was not worshipped. It was received with gratitude. Meals were connected to community, family, and faith. And maybe that's something modern society has partly lost. Final thoughts. So, what did Jesus actually eat? Likely simple bread, fish, olives, olive oil, fruits, vegetables, grains, lentils, honey, and occasional lamb during festivals. No ultra-processed foods, no artificial chemicals, no endless overeating culture. Just simple nourishment from the earth. And perhaps the most surprising thing is this. The lifestyle of Jesus Christ was probably far healthier, simpler, and more disciplined than much of the modern world today. Maybe understanding his diet isn't only about food. Maybe it's about remembering the value of simplicity itself. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who loves biblical history and hidden truths. And let me know in the comments. Which part of Jesus' lifestyle surprised you the most? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.